Welcome back to the 128 KB podcast. We are back once again.
Due to lack of popular demand.
And that demand is so lacking. Actually, it's so lacking that we finally broke 100,000.
We
did
have
a video on it.
Woo!
But this is the first time that we've sat together since then. If I've broken chronology, sod it. I don't care. It's amazing.
Yeah, we've hit 100,000. Well, we're over that now.
Yeah, over that. In time for the Switch 2.
I know, amazing.
The timing is absolutely amazing.
It's incredible.
If you're new here, welcome. This is this is our podcast. This is our weekly dose of all things gaming.
Yes.
We kind of kick back and relax a little bit and just kind of chat about the world of gaming either this week or something that's bothering us.
Yeah, it's kind of like topical because if it's been a week, if a new game's dropped, or even if it's an old game from our backlog, we often go and talk about what we've been doing each in that week. And there's always like a main topic that we'll get to at the end. But there's things we'll talk about, maybe even a bit of news, even though we do a live news show weekly. But yeah, I saw someone complaining like, oh, you're not even talking about the thing.
30 minutes in.
That's why I chapter every video for you.
Yes.
So you can go and skip to the topic.
Can I just say, chaptering on YouTube sucks. It's so hard to do.
It's
just
long.
Takes ages.
It's long, but we do that for you. So you don't have to scrub through. You can just click on the topic that you want to hear about. But today is the big one.
It's a big one. It is. It's a big one. And goodbye, my lover.
We're saying goodbye.
Goodbye, my friend.
To the Nintendo Switch.
It's time to say goodbye.
It's the send-off.
To the Nintendo
Because the Switch 2 is coming. Literally like in a week's time.
I know. I'm so... We've been almost like doing a countdown to our Discord members as well. Like, 2 weeks to go. 10 days to go.
Yeah.
Oh, the excitement is real. But it's time to finally say goodbye to that old girl.
Yes.
Who I'm sure if I took it out now, would have 0 battery.
Oh, yeah.
It would be long dead.
That's a prop.
I should actually plug it in because I want to make sure I remember the logins to everything.
Long-time viewers will know that MOBAPAD is our absolute favourite brand for Switch controllers and JoyCons. So we're proud to announce that they're today's super awesome video sponsor. We've tested countless JoyCon alternatives and MOBAPADs are a league above the rest with the best specs you could dream of. Say goodbye to JoyCon drift, hand cramps and poor accuracy. MOBAPAD's JoyCons are the best that there is and their Pro controllers are just as epic too. Packed full of features with great ergonomics and app support, turn your Switch into a Switch Pro. If you're looking for a new Pro controller or the best Joy-Con alternative that you can buy, check out the MOBAPAD link in the description.
But yeah, we're going to do kind of a special podcast just saying goodbye to the Switch, reminiscing about our fond and not so fond memories of it.
The whole journey, really.
And the journey of what has been, 8 years? 7 years?
2017 it came out.
Holy house. 8-year journey.
Yeah.
Pretty much of gaming. And when you consider that, I don't often consider the impact of consoles and their lifespan on your own life.
Yes.
But like 8 years is
That's
like
it's a
big
decade.
chunk of your life, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And I find it amazing to think that there would have been people that, like kids that would have picked up the Switch when it came out 8 years ago that are now fully blown adults.
Yeah.
Maybe with their own families, with definitely their own lives, jobs and stuff that have grown up.
Yeah, with the Switch.
Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And I will say, before I go right back on the start of our journeys with the Switch and the Switch itself, I stopped appreciating the Switch personally. I want to say maybe 2 years ago. Kind of the Switch journey ended for me by then.
Yeah, because that just started showing the apparent, capabilities had been reached. Stuff like, let's just take Scarlet and Violet, where, performance was tanking hard. And then they released the DLC, which you would expect would be improved, and the performance was even worse. No. And around that time was when I, even as a avid Nintendo guy, I still played the Switch very often, but it started sitting on the back burner and I started going down the PC handhelds then.
And also I think as a channel, because we've always primarily been handheld gaming, that's kind of what we've now kind of that's our thing. But also the journey of the channel, it was all about Nintendo.
It was
pretty much at the
for a long time.
It was just all it was. Then as that really started showing its lack of innovation, and it's like it was no longer the bleeding edge.
Yeah, there wasn't much going.
So there was less
on.
to talk about. It was exciting.
Yeah.
So then the successors, in my mind, things like the Steam Deck come along.
Yeah.
That the Switch kind of was a trailblazer for, and then obviously the PC handhelds. So that's where we drifted over to. But now we've got this kind of broad vocabulary of all these things.
Yes.
That is handheld gaming.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to kick it off, really, is that the Switch is the king of handheld gaming. It is the reason why handheld gaming is no longer this weird accessory.
Yes.
To main consoles and main PCs.
Yeah.
It's no longer
it's
like
not subpar.
It's not exactly that. It's no longer subpar. It's no longer these weird half-baked versions of games.
No.
It is mainstream now.
Yeah, you can play your actual console games on the go because of the Switch.
And because of the Switch, because of what Nintendo did 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And 8 years ago, everyone thought they were wrong.
Yeah. People really didn't like the idea of it. I mean, obviously rolling back since Game Boy, like Nintendo have been the king of handhelds.
Yeah.
Like they've really focused. They've always had a handheld going alongside like a home system. And it's always been brilliant, you know, like, and that's where my love for it comes from, because my proper first time in gaming was I had handhelds. I didn't have home consoles, and I was like, I don't know, going to my parents' friends' houses or whatever, or going on holiday, and always taking my game with me. That's what I loved, was I didn't have to go, oh, I wish I was at home playing my game. I had my game with me, whether that was on a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, SP, DS, 3DS, whatever it was. I always had one with me. And then for them to go, you know what, let's just ditch the home console, ditch the handheld, and make this new hybrid thing. It was mind-blowing. And I don't really understand where the hate came from at the start. People really didn't like the idea of it.
Yeah. No, they really didn't. I think part of it was because the Wii U was such an abject failure for Nintendo.
Yes.
Either through poor communication,
That's
poor optimization, just it was subpar for them anyway.
Yeah.
But because the Wii U had an element of handheld about it,
it was almost there, wasn't it? It was almost there. It was like the testing phase for the Switch. I mean, it kind of was, because almost every Wii U game came to Switch.
Yes, yeah. But I think because that was such a failure commercially, I think everyone saw them kind of just doubling down on the idea with the Switch, and were just like, well, that's just going to fail.
Yeah,
it's underpowered. It's old hardware.
Yeah.
I will say we see a lot of the same rhetoric coming up now as we did when the Switch launched.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's underpowered. It's not as good as XYZ. I'd rather have XYZ. It's like, okay, if you've not learned what's going on here, then no one's ever going to convince you otherwise.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I want to kind of address a bit of that as well while we're at that point. How many comments we've seen about it not being as the Switch 2 not being as good as the PS5.
What are you on about? Who said that? Who's been comparing it to, like, that's ridiculous. That's like me saying, well, my PS5 is not as good as my $2,000 computer.
No, it's not as good. No.
Like, what? What are you on about?
I'd rather just get that.
Like, it's not the same. It's not a fair comparison.
I've also seen the same people saying it's not as good as the PS5. Might as well get a Steam Deck.
Okay.
Well, Steam Deck's going to be the same price.
Yeah, and it's going to be worse performance.
Yeah.
So
it's much older.
That's really weird.
What's going on here?
People just have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, I also just think the reason I make the connection now is I just think people like to bash on Nintendo.
Yeah. They always have. Always have. They've always said, oh, that's just for kids or whatever it might
exactly
be.
That.
It's like, okay, cool. Like, it's not the case, but all right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Maybe because of Nintendo's IPs, the famous ones are very colourful.
Yeah. People just think Mario, and if you're like only in PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, and you just think of Nintendo, you're going to think of like Donkey Kong or something.
Yeah.
Not the fact that like Call of Duty's been on it's been on Nintendo systems for years.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember playing Call of Duty on Wii.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not a kid's game.
Like Resident Evil launching on GameCube.
Only on GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think there's always going to be that kind of rhetoric, and it was the same when the Switch launched originally.
Absolutely. But for me, despite the hate, I've never cared about, like, some of my favorite movies are like some of the worst rated movies, you know, and stuff. So I literally couldn't care what anyone else thinks. if I like it, I like it. I don't care if you like it or not. Like, cool. Like, I'm not going to even argue with you. It's just like, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I might like this flavor of crisps. You might not. Who cares?
It's cool.
You know, like, it's fine.
We're both not buying the same thing. It's wicked.
Yeah. But when I saw the Switch, because I was the handheld guy, always was, you know, I've bought every iteration of every handheld that Nintendo have come out with. Bar the original Game Boy, and never had one of those. I always played on them because my parents' friends had them, but Game Boy Color has shown my age
Game Boy.
as to where I got it. No, I didn't. Game Boy Color was my thing. I actually had a Sega Game Gear beforehand.
Oh,
so
I think I hate you. I think I've
still got it. You've seen it. It's on the shelf.
Every time I come to your house, I'm like, I love this thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I want to mod it one day, like make it better.
I'll put it on an IPS screen.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the screen's dead in it, so it needs changing now. But anyway, like coming from a heavy handheld background and then going through home systems and PC gaming on the other side. Doesn't matter. Even when I was like hardcore PC gamer only, still had my Nintendo handhelds.
Yeah.
So when 2017, you know, and the Switch was dropping, or even beforehand, like when it was announced, this blew my mind. When they showed it like docked and then they picked it up and it continued, that was just like, oh my God. Like, I was so stunned.
I just want to give a shout out to that, because even to this day, that is still wild.
It's mad, isn't it?
Like, I just want to like imagine it with like a PC handheld.
Yeah.
Like, it just wouldn't be the same.
No.
And there's a lot of them. If you're using like an eGPU, let's say, you're not going to be able to hot swap that thing.
Not in the same way. Not with the same ease. No.
Exactly that. I think we overlook the simplicity and the complexity involved in that simplicity.
Yeah.
But being able to just dock it and go, right, I'm off out, pick it up.
Yeah.
And I can keep going.
No faff. It's instantaneous. There's no messing with settings or nothing. You literally plug it in or unplug it and away you go.
That's pretty wild.
It's insane.
It's still wild.
Absolutely insane. It still blows my mind. And that's what gave me love for like handheld PCs and stuff when that later came, because of how good the Switch was. Yeah. But the Switch is still that one that was like the miracle, you know, that absolutely was like earth-shattering. And especially when they showed Skyrim launching with it. And I was like, no way, Skyrim handheld. Yeah. Because you got to remember, like, if you were of the age where you're still relatively young now and the only handheld you've ever experienced is a Switch, this might all be going over your head. But
at handhelds...
handhelds had specific games made for them.
Yeah.
So if you had a game on the console, and then you had the same game released on handheld, it was totally different. Totally different. Like really different. Not the same class at all. Whereas having precisely the same game and not even have to buy it twice for handheld and console, you know, you buy one Switch game, you've now got it on your console and handheld. Yeah. Whereas back in the day, if you want that game on your console, you buy it on console. If you want a weird version of it on handheld, which is nothing like it, you have to buy that again, you know, and have two systems. So just having that one and done system was incredible. Like, I was so hyped.
Again, I'd say about not enough credits given to certain things. The biggest one, I think, is that thing you just touched on, not having different versions of games for handheld consoles anymore.
Yes.
And we're now at a stage where we just expect it.
Yeah.
We expect the Steam Deck to be able to run certain games that are released within reason.
Yeah.
And we expect like the ROG Ally to have like your AAA games and be able to play it.
Yeah.
But that just was never the case pre-Switch. And it was the Switch that made that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It made the mainstream.
Those janky games that you'd get.
Yes.
Handheld. And what's baffled me is in that time period that's been 8 years, is that the other big hitters haven't stepped in the obvious success that handheld gaming is post-Switch.
Well, it's weird for PlayStation because they had such a success with the original PSP.
PSP was massive.
Massive for them.
Vita wasn't as successful, but it was still a really incredible unit.
It was so much better in every way over the PSP.
And those that had it knew how good it was.
Yeah, it was incredible, but Sony just pulled the plug. And they sold like 12 million and they went, nah, and just stopped.
Weird.
It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, so I find it incredible that in all the time since the Switch, and despite the fact that it's such a trailblazer and developers have seen the success and acknowledged it and made for it.
Yeah.
Despite all of that, and I'd say specifically Sony haven't stepped in and gone, we should bring back our handhelds.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know why. Maybe they will in the next few years. There's rumours of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see, really.
My journey with the Switch is a weird one. And I was a relative late comer to it, as in like it wasn't straight away.
Yes.
I had bought one for my stepson. And then I bought one for my lounge, but literally just to play like games like Mario Kart or like the party games, basically. It was just like the party console.
The kids' games.
Well, I'm a big kid, so kind of, yeah. But I never took it seriously. I never really paid much attention.
Yeah.
The only reason that they existed for that was, at the time, comparative to things like a PlayStation and Xbox, they were cheap.
Yes.
Because that's kind of where they sit. And I think that's where they will sit when the next generation comes out.
Absolutely. It's going to be half the price.
Everyone's talking about it being too expensive now. Just wait for the PlayStation 6.
Oh, yeah.
And the Xbox, whatever it's going to be.
If a PS5 Pro is 700-800, whatever it is, you're expecting more than that for the PS6.
Obviously, because it's going to be similar hardware.
Yeah.
So same kind of prices.
Price going to go up.
Yeah, so when the PS6 sits at like 700, let's just say, that 400 Switch 2 is like, well, that's the really cheap alternative.
Yes.
So for that, I'd never taken it seriously. And it was right up until we started working together.
Yeah.
And it was kind of your influence on me that made me...
You're just pushing Nintendo in your face.
Yeah.
Have some of that.
So I've never been like militant in my opinions of like, oh, it's crap. I've just like, this is what I play and I enjoy what I play.
Yeah.
And there'd be some games I'd look at over at Nintendo and I go, oh, I wish I could play that.
Yeah, it's a cool game. Yeah.
But I've got a PlayStation and that's what I do. So starting to work with you and then starting to make videos together and stuff. And you're like, Nintendo, you're like, look at it and look at this game. So it was a few years into the Switch that I finally buckled and bought one for myself. And then I realized by this point that surely I'm more of a fan of Nintendo because I've got 3 consoles.
Yeah.
But for you, you're like, I would say day one.
I tried day one. So at the time I was in my mid to late 20s and I, obviously had a job and that was the thing. Like I was with my wife and I was like, I really want the Switch 2. Like hands down, I wanted the Switch 2. At the time I was driving around the country for the job I was doing and like distributing stuff. And I remember going in, I'll go back to this, right? So I really wanted the Switch 2 and I was saying, I need to save up for it. Day one, the pre-orders went live. I put a deposit down. I was like, I'm going to buy it. Told my wife, so I'm buying the Switch 2. Now, when it came to launch, I couldn't afford it. So I had to not buy the Switch. I think I said Switch 2. Switch 1.
Yeah.
I lost my deposit. I couldn't.
Oh, you lost your deposit?
Yeah, I couldn't afford it, so I couldn't buy it. Like other stuff needed money, real life stuff,
Yeah.
And so I was gutted, like absolutely gutted. It was like the first time I'd not had like a Nintendo thing like at launch. Basically, I was just like absolutely gutted. I was like, no. And then I was doing my job and going around to these stores and stuff. And I went into a store and one of the guys was sat on his lunch break playing the Switch. I didn't care about the job at that time.
Do you remember what he was playing?
Yeah.
What was it?
Breath of the Wild.
It's so good.
I literally went in there for my job. I didn't care. Like I did not care about the job. Yeah.
Let's look at the Switch.
Well, he was like the manager of the store that I needed to speak to anyway, and he was on his lunch break or whatever. I must spend like 3 hours in that shop, like just talking to him about Switch. He was just like, there you go, like have a go. And that was my first experience of it. Sat in like this little coffee area of this store. Yeah. Like it was so good. Sat there playing Zelda. I was mind blown by how good it looked. I remember looking over his shoulder and just being like, oh my God. And then he was like, have a go, which I wasn't expecting him to. And I was playing it for so long. I was literally like a kid, like this is insane. And I remember getting home that day and I just said to my wife, I am getting one. We are making it happen. And it was still time until it happened because I was then actively trying to save everything I could for it. Little did I know that my wife had teamed up with my parents for that Christmas.
Wow.
So I was just like, I'm just going to buy it, like even though we couldn't afford it. And she was like, no, don't buy it. Don't buy it. And there was a part of me that goes, maybe I've got one for Christmas.
No way are they going to.
And I was like, nah, and I was like, really like, I was like, okay, fine. I'll wait until Christmas. Maybe there'll be January sales or something. Yeah. And it was that Christmas. I opened the box and there it was, like Switch 2.
Like a kid again.
Literally like a kid. And it was great because I managed to segregate myself from my family.
Like a kid again.
Like a kid. I was still in the room. It's handheld.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there mentally. And I got the Switch, the grey one, which is actually that one there.
It's the one I bought for you, isn't
it?
Yeah,
that's it. So I got the Switch. I got Mario Odyssey. And this is why I say I haven't played Odyssey, because I was straight into Zelda.
Yeah.
And I was like, once I complete Zelda, I'm going to play Mario Odyssey. It didn't happen, did it? So, so anyway, I got Zelda, and that's as well. And that's what I focused on. And then after Christmas, all that money I was saving for it, I went out, I bought another dock. I bought the Nintendo backpack, which I wore here today, which I bring to work like every time, put all my stuff in, the Switch backpack. I got a Pro controller, the Xenoblade one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was out then. Yeah, it must have been. And then whatever else I just bought loads of accessories of stuff, like official accessories, like an extra charger and stuff like that. I just basically spent all the money I was saving for the Switch on all this random stuff for the Switch. And that was it then. That was like my love of it. I think I got Skyrim shortly afterwards again, even though I played that to death. And it was just incredible experience.
What was, you're going to do one of those horrible questions for you now.
Oh no.
What is your favourite game
on Switch? I can't answer that. Like, I literally can't answer that. There's too many incredible games on Switch.
What's your peak, like... It might not even be the best. It's just the one that you've got like the most like.
The game that I can't even say I was like most excited for or anything, but the one that I know fills me with joy the most, which is a GameCube game, which is coming to the GameCube expansion on Switch 2. It's Mario Sunshine.
Oh, it's so weird. You're like the flag waver for that game.
I'm the only person that likes it in the world, yeah.
Yeah.
The same with Star Fox Adventures.
Do you know what's annoying?
Just me.
Is it All Stars, isn't it? The game that the card that it comes on. The amount of times you told me, it's really rare. If you see it, buy it. And I kept saying, it's in that shop. I keep seeing it in the shop. And it's like 30 quid or something. He's like, buy it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the game shops have disappeared now.
Yeah.
And so I didn't. I kept looking and going, maybe I should, and I didn't. And now you just cannot get it.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll probably be somewhere in deep depths of
You can get like import versions of it, but it's still like 80 quid.
Yeah,
I'm not that
so
fast.
that is my...
It can't be that good.
Well, the only reason it's so good for me is purely nostalgia.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took the GameCube game and spruced it up.
Yep.
So it's going to be better than the version that's on the Switch 2 online, because this is actually like... better textures and everything. It will still be really good on the Switch Online, and you'll be able to use the GameCube controller, so you'll be able to use Flood like properly. But equally, for me on GameCube, Super Mario Sunshine was a huge part of my childhood, and I loved it. So when I heard that it was coming to Switch in 3D All Stars, I didn't care about Mario Galaxy, which is on there, and Mario 64, which is also on there. I literally didn't care for them. I was just buying a 3D All Stars for Sunshine, and it was so good.
It shows like the slight age gap between us, because for me, the nostalgia one there would be Mario 64.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'd already played 64 to death on the DS. Because
it's on DS?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a launch title on the Nintendo DS. It was. Because I imported my DS from Japan before Western launch. I did it like 6 months early. I remember sitting in airports and people going,
What's this?
Yeah, like, what is that and how have you got it? And I'm playing Mario 64. I had to buy like an American Mario 64 on that.
That's something that's changed as well.
Yes.
And that plagued me like throughout childhood and like early like adulthood of gaming, was that you would always see like staggered releases.
I hated that.
It was the worst, wasn't it?
Yeah, always Japan first.
Japan first, because that was a domestic market. And then quite often America second.
there, and then like a year later we'd get it.
Yeah, it was always the case. And you would, as like a kid who was really into gaming, and looking at me like, I just want to play it.
It's there.
It's there.
It's in the world.
You've seen they got the PlayStation in Japan already. Like,
yeah.
Not here.
Yeah. It's so frustrating.
What other? Because I've got a few that really stick in my mind.
Yeah. Okay.
From Switch.
Yeah.
I'm stopping it because I don't want to say one thing and corner myself. I think the game that I really associate the most is Metroid Dread.
Wow. What a game.
Such a good game.
What a game.
So frustratingly hard.
Oh,
I'm going to go back and play it.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
We streamed it.
We did.
Have I misremembered that?
I think I'd already completed it.
You'd completed it. Yeah, we did stream it.
And you were playing it, and I was trying to help you through bits.
Because I struggle with platforming anything. Yes. That's the one element of gaming I like really struggle with platformers.
Yes.
And obviously it's a huge part of like Metroidvanias is platforming.
Especially Metroid, because there's a lot of like shine spriting and
timed
stuff.
Jumps
and
stuff. Yeah, so I really struggled with it. But I loved it. So it's quite weird. Quite often games you struggle with, you don't associate with enjoying your time.
Yes.
But I like really enjoy. I loved everything about. It was my introduction really into the Metroid universe.
Yeah.
We had. I'm like remembering loads of stuff.
Yes, we'd streamed Super Metroid.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
The NES Metroid.
Yeah. Yes, horrible.
It was. Didn't we also stream the SNES?
Yeah, that's Super Metroid.
So Super, which is the third Metroid.
Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, 2's on Game Boy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was right back when we started doing videos.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
How weird.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I struggled with Dread, but it was my proper introduction to like really enjoying the Metroid universe. It was also the first time I'd seen a 2D game look so good.
Yes.
And there was obviously ones that existed before that, but that was the first time I was like, oh wow, you can do 2D and it look modern and amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
And we kind of coined the phrase 2.5D because it's not really 2D. It does have
2.5D. Yeah.
And so there was this like a really special journey, and I remember thinking a lot around that time. I wish Nintendo had more IPs like this.
Yeah.
Leaned into these kind of maybe sci-fi, but also a bit dark, and I wish they had a bit more of that about them.
Yes.
Obviously they do, and with the third-party stuff, especially now, the third-party stuff, there's going to be loads more.
Yeah, well, even just with the arrival of Metroid Dread, was bringing Metroid back. We knew about Metroid
19 years between the 2D ones.
Well, for the 2D, the last one was Metroid Fusion, which came out.
Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance, yeah. It came out the day that Metroid Prime 1 came out on the GameCube. So that's 2004, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was basically 20 years, because I think it was 2023 that Dread came out. So yeah, it was like 19 years between them, and we hadn't seen anything since Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii. So it'd been a long time. But then we saw the arrival of Dread, and then obviously teaser for Prime 4, which was just the logo. But we knew that they're bringing it back, that like nice, slightly more adult, like techie, like sci-fi thing. But like you said, I know I said Super Mario Sunshine because that was like the most emotional thing for me there, just because of nostalgia. But I would agree with you, Metroid Dread was probably my peak Switch, because I'm wearing right now, for those that you're listening, I'm wearing a Samus ring, a gold ring with a red band on the inside, like Varia suit. I love Metroid.
It coincided pretty soon or around the time of the OLED as well. Switch.
It
OLED?
was, it was a launch title on the Switch.
Was it? Was it?
That's why we said it looked like an Emmy
so much
because
has
it's
happened.
the white Joy-Cons.
Yeah, so much has happened in between that I kind of misremember. I didn't want to say it was the launch title.
Yeah, no, it was.
It absolutely was.
Yep.
And that was the Switch hitting its peak in my mind, anyway.
Yeah.
That was the Switch hitting its peak.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it is just, again, because of my love of Metroid and the fact that they brought back...
But also, that moment in the Switch's life...
Yeah, was when...
OLED, Metroid launching...
Yeah, it was the peak because it was the best system with the OLED screen. Yeah. And also you had loads of games that were, like, pushing the OLED, you know, especially Dread. The fact that they brought that back from the depths, and it's so good. Anyone that's not played it, like, yes, it can be hard if you don't play Metroidvanias. If you've ever played a Metroid game, you know what you're in for. Incredible. It's not overly long. No. Like, I 100%ed it in like 20 hours or something or less.
I will say, any game that involves like a timing mechanic, it's just persistence.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the kind of slight frustration of figuring stuff out. But I think gamers are now... We went for a stage where all games had to be simple and easy, and there was no complication at all. And I think like Elden Ring and that kind of Dark Souls and Souls-like games, and the popularity of them has opened the door to more gamers being more patient.
Yes, yeah.
And accepting that sometimes there's a bit of a grind, and but it's really rewarding when it pays off. And then when the whole mechanic clicks, it's wicked.
Yeah, so before Souls, there was Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
So if you like Souls-like games, play some Metroidvanias, like old school ones, because like Metroid, they're hard. Like bosses, you don't just rinse through.
No,
you have to learn the mechanics, and even then you have to be on point because otherwise you're just going to get nailed. Like, you know, they can be difficult. Same with getting the like secret items and stuff. Some of the stuff on Dread, you have to do like huge runs where you've got to get timing absolutely perfect, or you fail and you have to do it all over again.
I just also, whilst we're on Dread, I just want to give a massive shout out to whoever was responsible for coming up with the idea and designing Emmys.
Yeah.
I think they might be the most terrifying antagonist in Nintendo video games.
When you're playing, it is so butt clenching.
It's awful.
Like, you're like actually like like, you know.
I remember my first encounter with them, and it would have been when we were streaming it.
Yeah.
And me like terrifying
running
and just shouting like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And that kind of roller coaster of emotions for a long time I felt was like missing from games.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's Nintendo that had brought it back.
Yes.
That like wild, like it can be hilariously fun and like you're playing, I don't know, Mario Kart against each other and like Smash and or like a party game, or like the opposite end and it's like terrifying but you're like screaming and like full roller coaster. Metroid has got a lot of that all in one.
Yes. Yeah. It's got every,
that's super satisfying. That was wicked.
Yeah, because you start with like nothing and then you've got to get all your power-ups so you become like more powerful as the story goes on, and you then learn your abilities. So you start off really weak and you've got these things chasing you and whatever, you know, and they don't become any easier. Like they're all different.
Are they the most terrifying bad guy in any Nintendo game?
Probably, yeah. I can't think of anything else. No, nothing's as like scary. Do you know what I mean? Like the only thing I can kind of put it to is Resident Evil 3.
Okay.
You know, it's 3, isn't it? Yeah, where you've got Mr. X following you.
Just chase.
Yeah.
I think with Mr.
That's 2. It's
2.
3 is Nemesis.
Yes.
Chasing you. It's that feel where you're constantly being stalked because you can't get away from them. If you stand still, they'll get you.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Emmys.
Yeah.
Like there's zones where you're safe, but if you're in an Emmy zone, it is coming for you.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to go.
Yeah, there's no messing. You can't miss a beat.
No.
You mess up, you're dead.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love the way they give you like a glimmer of hope of like you can like parry their attack.
Yeah.
Like, there's like
maybe.
There's like a glimmer.
Yeah.
You try it once and you go, I'm not going to do that again because there's no way I could do it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, so for me, I want to say Dread is peak.
Yeah, Dread's probably my...
It's not the game I played the most, though.
No, well, it's the game that I know I get flack for not completing games, but I sat and I played that until I completed it.
Yeah.
Like from the day it came out.
100%ed it.
I 100%ed it in like, I'm pretty sure I got like 12 hours or something on my...
That's insane.
Yeah, I did it fast. But again, I've got pretty good experience with old Metroid games. And I just love Metroidvanias like Prince of Persia and stuff.
Yep.
Love it.
I will say it's... There's huge quality of life improvements over old Metroidvanias.
Oh, massive!
So, and we could definitely notice that when we were streaming those Metroid games and going from like the NES Metroid.
Yeah.
Like Dread is like way more forgiving.
Yes,
for a modern gamer.
Yeah.
But it's still tough.
It is tough. Yeah. But it's got way better quality of life stuff, and it's kind of directly follows on from. Samus Returns on the 3DS. Yeah. So they've remade 2. So Metroid 2, which was on the Game Boy, which is really bad. Like it's terrible. And they've remade that for the 3DS. And if you play that after playing Dread, you can see they've taken a lot from that and put it into Dread, which is wicked. It's really good. But yeah, I will say, just changing the title, I don't want to go through too many games.
There's a couple that stick to my mind.
Because we've got a little spoiler for you. There will be a game of like the best Switch 1 games you need to play on Switch 2.
There'll be a game of it.
Sorry,
There'll be a video.
A video of the best Switch 1 games you must play on Switch 2, which will have all of our recommendations. But I will say that the Nintendo Switch made me enjoy 2D Mario games. Because I've always hated them.
I forgot this about you.
Yeah.
And I remember having this like weird debate because for me, Mario games are 2D.
Yes. Well, they are, yeah.
I love 2D Mario games.
Yeah, I hate them.
And when I think of Mario, I think of that opening level of Super Mario Brothers. It's like, that is Mario.
Yeah, before the rage quit hits.
Before...
Yeah.
Before I smashed the screen of my Game Boy again.
Exactly.
Rage quit.
Yeah, you did a Game of Thrones.
I fully Game of Thrones to my Game Boy.
Yeah.
I want to know what game I think.
It was Mario, wasn't it?
No.
Go on, don't lie.
No, it's more embarrassing than that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I rage quit my Game Boy to death playing Kirby's Pinball Land.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Cool.
Which was one of my favourite games of all time.
That's a great game.
I genuinely love that game.
It's an actual great game. Yeah. So's Metroid Pinball as well. That's good.
Is it? I didn't realise there was a Metroid Pinball.
So Mario games, I've hated them because they were so hard. And
they're hard. Yeah.
They're harder on the handhelds. So as a kid, I only had Game Boy and stuff until the GameCube. So I got the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube and that. But before then, you had like the Game Boy versions of Mario, which is so much harder than playing on like an SNES or whatever. And obviously, when we got N64, we then ended up with Mario 64, which was the start of the 3D stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Not as much.
I liked it, but I didn't have it. I went around a friend's house and was playing Mario 64, like, yeah, this is great, And then obviously when I got GameCube, Sunshine came out. And that is my peak. Like, I love this. This is great fun because it's so vibrant, colourful. It was incredible graphics. Flood is amazing. But 2D Mario, as a child, absolutely hated it. I had no one to walk me through it.
Yeah.
There was no internet.
No.
So you've got this game, cool, you suck. Like, and that is basically it.
Yeah.
And I remember I had the Game Boy Color one, whatever that was.
It's so true. You got this game and you suck.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah, but I couldn't get over it because I couldn't get past where I needed to get. So I just gave up. And then Game Boy Advance came out. I got whatever that Mario game that sucks comes out on that. Like, I've still got it. I've still got the game from 20, 30 years ago, whenever it was. And I remember getting that. I thought maybe this one will be better. I remember having a magazine going, this is amazing Mario game. I went, oh, cool, I'll give it a chance. Bought that game. And as we've said before, you buy one game as a kid, you're stuck with it for months.
For months, that's your game now.
Yeah, that's like 6 months, half the year. That's your game that you play. And I had it be frickin' Mario. And I hated it. Like, I absolutely hated it because it sucks. I still wouldn't play it now. Like, it is so bad. Wow. So I always went for 3D Marios and I loved those, but I hated the 2D ones until Mario Wonder.
Wow.
All the way up until Wonder, which was
Wonder is a beautiful game.
Incredible game.
Yeah.
Incredible game. Like, I love that game.
And so weird for them.
Yes.
Like, it's so, for a Mario game as well, it's so like off the wall and a bit mad.
Yes,
it's not. It's not like you'd expect from a Mario platformer.
No, I tell a lie. There was what I would call the like in between ones that I loved, which came out on 3DS. So Mario 3D Land, which is like an isometric, almost like a cross between 2D and 3D.
Not even seen that.
Yeah, so you know when it's like at an angle.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible game. 3D Land on 3DS, absolutely play that. Like if anyone hasn't, love it. It's exactly the same as 3D World, but with whole new levels and stuff. But that kind of game that was on Wii U and on Switch, 3D World and Bowser's Fury, it's basically the same game, but the 3DS one with totally different levels and everything.
Okay, there's one game that I'll mention that I don't think anyone will play on Switch 2 because there'll be no point.
Okay.
And it's a game that I'm gladly seeing is being retired because it's not even really a Switch game.
Okay.
And it's the game I played the most on Switch.
Okay.
It's probably the game I've played the most full stop in the last 8 years.
Wow. Go on.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Wow. Yes.
I played so many hours on
Same.
my own, with my partner, with friends, with you. I don't count you as a friend. And contrary to popular belief, you're not my partner either.
No, that's it. No.
I've played so many hours. And I don't mean the expansion packs. They can all get in the sea because they're not very good.
No.
They're slow.
I enjoyed Mario Kart 8 more.
Yes.
Like nearer the time of it coming out and stuff. Like I loved it then. And by the time the expansion packs came out, I was a bit like, meh.
Yeah. I love Mario Kart games. I
do.
Always have.
Yes. I have too.
And I think everyone does. I think they're just fun.
Other than Konami's Crazy Racer on Game Boy Advance. Now that is a game.
I never played that. No. Mario Kart for kart racers, for fun, for just everything they bring. They're awesome. I love the balloon battles. I love the battle modes. The whole lot.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Especially if there's two of you and you both want to play something.
Multiplayer, it's like the peak game, isn't it?
Peak. Absolutely right. I've played so many hours of that game.
Yeah, same.
I don't think I'll be exaggerating to say I think it's the game the most hours I've played of any game on any console in the last 8 years. And it's not because it's my favorite game. It's definitely not like my favorite game ever, and it's not the most incredible experience you'll ever have. But when you boil down what you're hoping to get from a video game, and it's some kind of like fun, it's entertainment, isn't it?
Quick and easy fun,
yeah, and that engages you or multiple people for a period of time. I don't think there's many games that do it better than that.
It's because it's a game that requires like little to no thinking.
Yep.
Any headspace you're in, you can play.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing like a massive RPG, you kind of need to be in the mood.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Like I have to like psych myself up for that. Whereas Mario Kart, it doesn't matter if you're upset, grumpy, sad, really happy, whatever it is, you can just jump in and either love it and just do one race, or like not feel like you're going to play very much, do one race and then you're playing it for hours.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that arcade vibe that I think makes it so like addictive.
Yeah.
And just brings you back, because it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, how you feel, who you're with. It's something you can jump into.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think it should be remembered almost ironically as one of the peak Switch games.
Yeah.
And ironically, because it's not a Switch game.
Yeah, the Switch never had a Mario Kart.
Never. Well, that story came out, didn't it?
Did it?
This week. That
oh, really?
Mario Kart World was in development for the Switch.
Yes. Yeah. They wanted it to be Switch 1.
Yeah.
Then they realised that the Switch 1 couldn't handle it.
Mario Kart World has taken 8 years to develop.
Yeah.
8 years.
And that's why it's $80.
And that's what, well, when you consider 8 years of
development
production, that's, it's going to be a huge
wait
game.
And see how good it's going to be.
It's going to be amazing.
Incredible.
And they basically, they would have had to have scaled it back loads to what their ambition was.
Yes.
So they're like, do you know what, should we just wait for a new system for this?
Yes, absolutely.
And just improve,
Yeah, and it sounds like they've done the right thing.
I think they made the right choice.
I can't wait to play Mario Kart.
And do you know what? 8 Deluxe, the kind of slightly improved Wii U game, stood the test of time on Switch.
Yeah.
Clearly, because it's played so much, and the expansion packs and the courses and stuff.
Yeah. It was brilliant.
I just thought the expansion packs were too slow.
Yes,
me too. It felt like they were running at the wrong mode.
Me too. Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? And I think that contributes to the fact that we'd played so much Mario Kart and then put it down, and we were playing a lot of Hot Wheels Unleashed, if you remember.
Oh, yes.
And that's quick.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Fast. Like once you start getting into it, it's very fast. So we were really on the toes of Hot Wheels Unleashed. And then they announced 8.5 Deluxe.
Yeah.
And we always call it 8.5 Deluxe. It's not, is it? It's 8 Deluxe, yeah. So they released that, and then we went straight into that, and we were both like,
why is this so slow?
It feels like you're like driving through mud.
Yeah.
Like it's just like really slow. And even my wife was like, this feels horrible. But again, we'd just come off of Hot Wheels. So I think that was the reason.
Might be that,
so I've not played Hot Wheels in a little while. I'm going to keep it that way until we play Mario Kart World.
That's interesting, because I was tempted to buy Hot Wheels 2 for the Switch 2 when it drops. Just get the Switch 1 version and see if it will run. I was tempted to do that, but I stopped because I was like, no, I'm just going to enjoy Mario Kart World for a while.
Yeah.
Because I think that they'll ruin each other. And I did play Hot Wheels 2 on Ally X.
Yes.
It's such a good game handheld.
Amazing game.
If you've not played the Hot Wheels games and you like fun races.
Oh my days, what are you doing?
It's so good.
What are you doing? The Hot Wheels
I think it's
games,
severely underrated.
It's one of the best arcade races.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it is. The whole reason I jumped in is because I have a deep love of micro machines.
Yeah.
And there's not been any in like 400 years.
What happened?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But Hot Wheels is basically its spiritual like successor.
Really is.
And from Unleashed, I know there's been other ones, but from Unleashed was when it was like really good.
Yeah.
And number 2's like just as good or better.
Yeah.
And so if you love races of any kind, like specifically for me, I do not like simulation. I'm not about like PlayStation Forza and like whatever it is.
Yeah, Gran
Turismo. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like, give me something fun, and that's where I'm at. And that's why I love Hot Wheels and Mario Kart.
And the beautiful thing with those like kart races and like Hot Wheels and stuff, it's like they are just based around fun. Yes, and they are kind of cartoony.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but it's not like they're without a skill base.
Oh Christ! I'd say they're a higher skill base.
It's a bit Hot Wheels. It's like.
Yeah.
It's techers.
You have to be really good at that.
Yep.
I took time off, came back, and I sucked.
You have to go back to the start.
Like you have to start. You got to rep it out, man.
Yeah.
Like you got to start again.
Like getting the drifts right, learning the courses, like figuring out what you're supposed to do. Because with Hot Wheels Unleashed specifically, you hit the nail on the head of it being the spiritual successor of Micro Machines. You mess up, you're falling off. You're falling off the table or whatever it is you're racing on.
Or into the grass or whatever.
You're done.
Yeah.
You can't get things wrong.
Whilst we're on races, I know that this is a Switch 2 title now, but I spent the entirety of Switch 1 begging for an F-Zero game.
Yes.
And they never bought it. And all I said is just re-release GX. Because the devs themselves, I mean, it's a collab with Sega, F-Zero GX. And they said, we're not making another one because we feel like we did everything we could with GX. And they didn't want to just churn out like another game. So I was like, that's fine. Just redo GX for the Switch 1. Yeah. Never happened. If you remember, every time before a direct, I went GX. Like, and it never happened. And then the fact that they showed it, and we've played it in the London event on the Switch 2, and you actually beat me.
I'm not into F-Zero at all. I was like, first time I'll play it on GameCube. Cool.
Yeah, I have reasons.
What were those reasons?
I was too busy looking at the GameCube controller.
Yeah. I was getting my vengeance for Mario Kart, Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, I'll let you have that. But the fact that it's coming like day one, like, oh man, I'm gonna have a real tough call as what I play on the day one that Switch comes out. But anyway, the fact that that's coming is amazing. And where I was going with that for like in terms of like new F-Zero is the fact that Fast Fusion is going to be.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, Fast Fusion for I think it's a Chinese development.
Yeah.
It's a really unusual, never heard of them, out of nowhere.
Well, they've got other titles on Switch.
They have.
Yeah. Well, Fast RMX is the Switch 1 version.
Oh, there is a Switch 1 version?
They've been making these gravity racers for ages.
Never seen them before.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Fast RMX is really cool, but this looks way better.
Yeah.
And they're always really affordable like games.
And this one's like, I want to say it's like 15 quid. It might be even less.
£13, like 50 or something here.
It's just a no-brainer.
So it'd be like $15. I'm buying that day one. I haven't bought it yet because I'm waiting,
until you get your account and everything.
Yeah. So I'll do it then.
Yeah. Day one for me. I've said it so many times on the podcast. I need Wipeout to exist in the world.
Well, that's what Fast Fusion basically is.
It feels
it's got 8K like renders in it. They released the performance modes the other day, and in like high fidelity 4K 30 mode, there's 8K like backdrops or something.
Unreal, man.
Like, it's insane. There's like 4 different performance modes, which is going to be really annoying for people.
Yeah.
I'd just say stick it in 1440p and leave it at that.
Go for the highest stable frame rate. Yeah. That's what you want for that game.
But I'm certainly going to try it at 4K 30 just to see how good it looks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hyped for that. I know we're meant to be talking about Switch 1, but I just wanted to go there.
You know, it's kind of a bit of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to dwell on games because, like you say, we've got a video coming out soon.
Yes.
Which is like the 20 plus best games for Switch 1 that you need to play on Switch 2.
Yes.
But I think you can't talk about your experience with the Switch without talking about some peak games. And to reiterate, Metroid Dread and Mario Kart, I think, in my mind, they're the peak moments for the Switch.
Yeah, and Prime 1 remastered.
And I'm sure there'll be loads of other people in the comments. I want to know what you guys think as well. Like, what was your peak Switch moments? But I'm sure there'll be people that'll be like Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah.
Or Tears of the Kingdom.
Incredible. I'm really glad that I didn't play much of Tears of the Kingdom, because now I can play it better on Switch too.
I'm really looking forward to my first playthrough of those games.
You've not played either of them.
No, not played either.
I've sank like silly hours into Tears Breath of the Wild, and I'm only like halfway through the story. I've only done like 2 of the 4 Divine Beasts.
I took our own advice. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know our Switch 2 advice. But if you're new here, buy Switch 1 games now while you can.
Yeah, if they're affordable.
The ones that have got like Switch 2 upgrades, like Zelda.
Yes. Yeah.
So I bought both of those.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I'm looking forward
Switch 2 upgrade
to re-jump in. But yeah, there's a lot of Switch 1 games, and the thing is, because there is a sheer amount of Switch 1 games,
huge.
It's really hard. Even right now, sat here off the top of my head, I can't even think of everything. You know, there is insane amounts of games. I mean, you've got like Animal Crossing and all that kind of stuff as well. But anyway, like aside from that, I think it was really cool with the Switch 1 seeing the hardware changes.
Yes.
Because I always found it a bit crampy to hold. I was always doing the pinky grip, handheld. I played handheld more than not. So I was getting a bit annoyed. And I remember when Hori, the game Daemon X Machina came out, and Hori released this like freaking diabolical thing that was in place of the JoyCons. And I was like, what is that? The Hori Pro controller.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And it was literally a Pro controller, sawed in half. And you stick it on. No rumble, nothing. No battery, you can't use them wirelessly. You only use them on the Switch.
Lumps of plastic.
Yeah, but full-size joysticks, and it had turbo and back paddles.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my days, this is incredible. And it's funny because it coincides with when I bought them was with the launch of Animal Crossing, which was when the dreaded world shut down.
Yeah, it was COVID, wasn't it?
It was COVID. And I tactfully bought them because I thought, I'm, going to be, before everything got locked down, it was near my wife's birthday. And I was like, I'm going to buy us both Animal Crossing. I'm going to buy these Hori things because we'd rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere for like a week or 2 weeks or something. And I was like, I need to play this handheld, and I want the big chunky controllers. Little did I know that turbo was going to come in handy because Animal Crossing is all about mashing the same button. Yeah. Whereas my wife's there going, like pressing the button about 9 million times a second. I just go turbo on A.
Hold.
No, you could do auto turbo. So I press it once, let go. And my guy's there like digging the floor or whatever. And I'm just walking him around with my left stick without having to smash the button. It was such a genius thing. But what I'm getting at is that was the first time we'd seen third-party people start making accessories or Joy-Con alternatives.
And not, I want to say, and I may be wrong with this, but in my mind, it was the first time that we saw third-party manufacturers make things that are better than OEM.
Yes.
And not just better, like massive improvements on OEM.
Yeah.
Like from when Hori did that, and then you had like the Split Pad Pros and
yes, that's what they were called.
Split
Pad Pros, yeah.
From that moment on, third-party manufacturers just made the Joy-Cons in particular better and better. And better. Not just ergonomics, but like ergonomics for different people.
Yes.
And then you've got different buttons, and you've got mechanical buttons, and you've got Hall effect joysticks. Because that was obviously what's plaguing the Joy-Cons, original ones. And then you had like mechanical buttons and the bumpers and the triggers.
Yeah, we got there in the end. I mean, it started with those Horis, and then it went to the like obscure no-name branded stuff, which was really bad.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went on this upward curve then. Like they were really bad to start with. Once people realized they could do it and copy like Hori with their own like shapes. And then it went really bad, really, really bad. And then it started getting better and better and better. And then it got really good.
Bimbok.
Yeah.
Like companies we'd never heard of.
Yeah, MOBAPAD.
MOBAPAD coming along. And I think what's really lovely about this whole thing is that the Switch and its journey, and then thinking about the accessories and stuff, directly correlates with our own journey.
Yeah. That's what we were covering, was all these, because
it was all that was coming out.
I was so hyped with like, oh my god, what's that, what's this grip, like
the grip cons,
even just standard grips like the Satisfy grip, the Skull and Co, now Savage Pigeon, Savage Raven, JSO, the JSOX ones, there was all this stuff, like
cool stuff,
and I was so eager, just to test it all out. And it was crazy how it all aligned with us making videos and stuff.
And it's funny because it was at a time where, like, from Nintendo's perspective, like everyone's perspective of Nintendo, innovation was stagnated. And
it's such a shame.
Well, and also, they didn't really need to do anything.
No, but from the day they released the Switch and you saw that those Joy-Cons were coming off, I wanted them to make a Pro Joy-Con for adults. I just wanted them to take the Pro controller, saw it in half, basically what the Split Pad Pro from Hori was, but just with HD Rumble and everything else. They never did it.
No.
Over like nearly a decade,
just point blank refused.
Do it. So instead, all these side companies, none of these companies would really be a thing if Nintendo had done that. If Nintendo released like actual pro level Joy-Cons that were like top tier with full size joysticks and ergonomics, none of these side companies that we, review stuff from would even be around.
I think Nintendo, it's probably to their fault, I would say. Nintendo hold on to ideas like religiously.
Yes.
Like this is how it is. And it cannot be another way.
Yeah.
And the Joy-Cons have to be that shape.
Yes.
I mean, it's their logo for one.
Yeah.
But like, it cannot be any other way. Mm-hmm. If you want it another way, that's what the Pro controller's for.
Yes.
It's like, but to be frank, the ergonomics of the Switch 1 sucked terribly.
It's bad, man. Like
it's massively improved on the Switch 2.
Yes, it is,
Purely because it's bigger.
It's the size, the weight distribution and everything.
I will put an asterisk there and say I'm waiting to see what it's like for long periods of time.
That's exactly what people keep commenting, like, how is it for like, it's like we played it for like literally a few hours on one day.
Yeah, and like Handheld was probably like half an hour of that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a third of the time we played.
Yeah.
So we can't like say about long-term use.
Like your first impressions, you hold it and go, oh, this feels way more comfortable.
Yes.
It sits in hand nicer.
Yes.
The Switch obviously had that dreaded pinky grip that used to do. Your hands would cramp up.
Yes.
And also the thinness actually didn't add any help to that at all.
No.
Because everything was thin.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch 2 could still have that problem.
Yeah, over time. Like if you're playing like 4 hours or something, you might still get crampy hands.
But in truth, I'll say all the handhelds suffer when you play them for a long period of time. You will get uncomfortable.
Yes. Oh, well, the PC handhelds are all really heavy.
Because they're heavy, yeah. So you end up like propping it
on
your chest.
But that's what I liked about the Switch 2 immediately was because it's so wide and flat. That weight is so balanced.
It's so light, isn't it?
It feels lighter than it is because of how thin and big it is.
Yeah.
If it was smaller in the same way, then it would feel very heavy. But because it's just the surface area is so big. But I mean, we've already got loads of accessories for the Switch 2 that companies have sent us to check out.
I hate to tell you, but there's more coming.
Yeah, I can imagine so. No, good. Bring them on.
Yeah.
Like, I love it's one of my favorite things is playing with like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I personally had to use grips or replacement JoyCons on the Switch 1. I never used the original JoyCons. Once we went down the rabbit hole of testing these other things, I always used a third-party Joy-Con.
Literally every aspect of them was improved.
Yes.
Possibly bar HD Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, even on par by
really used
MOBAPAD and
HD
stuff.
Rumble properly.
Yeah, I mean, again, the MOBAPADs use
the N1 HDs.
Yeah, they use Alps linear motors, which are like basically as good as.
If you exclude that, which only ever got as good as, the ergonomics were massively improved. The buttons were improved. The joysticks were improved.
M6 HD, sorry.
M6 HD. Thank you. Yeah.
The N1 HD was the different ones.
Other ones with the liquid silicone
the
buttons.
little baby ones. Yeah, baby hands.
Yeah, like every aspect has been improved, and it could still be the same problem with the Switch 2.
Yeah,
but almost when we look back at the Switch, almost what we're doing now, it's funny actually. I don't realize how small it is when I look at it.
It's tiny, isn't it? Yeah.
The Switch 2 is so much bigger.
The Switch 2 is huge.
Like the buttons are tiny.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I do you know what? In your head, it's bigger than it actually is.
Yes. It's the joysticks that were the biggest letdown on the Switch for me. Like those Joy-Con joysticks suck. Like drift apart.
The buttons aren't particularly nice on the Joy-Cons.
No, they're just mushy. Very tiny.
Yeah.
Like that's my. I find them fine.
They're like mini Smarties.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just. I can look past all that. It's just the joysticks and the lack of real D-pad. Yeah. And I understand why, because they wanted the controller to be like equivalent separately for two-player.
Yeah.
But just put a D-pad on there, man.
Yeah.
Like, just put an original D-pad there. Why have you got little Smarties?
I will say as well, as we get towards the end, a massive shout out to the Switch for that bit. It was horrible that each Joy-Con could be used as a controller.
Yes.
But it was all... I actually ended up using it a lot.
Oh, I did it all the time.
And I go back to the game I spent the most hours in was probably Mario Kart, playing with other people when they come over.
So easy to just whip it out.
Whip it out, there you go. So we've got a controller each. And it's tiny, it's uncomfortable, it's kind of annoying.
Yes.
But it worked.
It worked.
And you know what? It worked perfectly to get you into that problem.
It worked.
No
really
one's taking
good.
this game seriously. We're just having fun.
Yes. Yeah, and that was it.
That's fine.
And the fact that I could play on my handheld.
Yes.
We could be on a train. I can put it in tabletop mode. Each have a single Joy-Con without me having a rucksack full of accessories, and you play that game and actually have fun.
It's kind of amazing.
It's incredible.
So I'll go back to like the moans and groans people have about Nintendo stuff being expensive.
Yeah.
Like there's innovation that's overlooked because it's so simple.
Yes.
It looks so simple and it's so seamless. That's actually really incredible when you think about it. And when you consider what the Joy-Cons are, and you go, buying Joy-Cons is like 90 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're very complicated controllers. Mm-hmm. And there's two controllers there.
Yes.
You're getting two controllers.
Yeah.
It's actually that kind of innovation is just, I just think we take it for granted because it's been around for so long now.
The fact that you can use this as a home system, as a handheld, or a tabletop device for multiple people, like it just works. And it wasn't even a gimmick. Like that works, Like my Switch 1 and my Switch OLED like traveled the world with me. Like I went around like on holidays or wherever it was, for whatever reason, it was always with me for that reason. And any chance I got to play, whether it was with someone in tabletop mode or just single player, I'd even play in single player tabletop mode a lot.
Really?
So I'd sit, let's say on a train.
Split the Joy-Cons?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'd even play on the TV with a Joy-Con in each hand, because I would sit with my arm up on the back of the chair, like slumping in the sofa, and my other hand like just comfortable laying. Wow. I loved that. And the fact that you weren't confined to a Pro controller.
Yeah. Because
even though a Pro controller is better, it forces you to sit a certain way.
It does, yeah.
And whereas I like slouching, I like turn into a Snorlax. I'm just like, like laying on the sofa, one arm up here,
such a good reference.
One down there, like, and I'd have a Joy-Con in each hand, which is impossible with a Pro controller.
Yeah.
And so just that level of like accessibility, it's wicked. Like I loved it.
It's cool. It's really cool. It's beautiful. I'd love to know what your kind of fondest memories of Switch One was, what your favourite games were. What's like peak Switch One in your mind? What did we miss out on? I know there's loads.
Oh man, we could have been doing this for hours.
Literally hours. Yeah. It feels good to say goodbye to it. I'll be honest.
It excites me even more for Switch 2.
But like we at this point just need to, doff our cap to it because the Switch did so much for handheld gaming.
It did, yeah.
It was so successful and pioneered so many different things that I think we just a little bit take for granted now 8 years on. Yeah. But I'm very happy to see the back of it as well.
Me too,
that's moving on.
Yeah, me too. I'm so ready for Switch 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so eagerly awaiting it. Every single day there's a moment, multiple moments where I go, I wish I was just playing it now.
One thing that's still blowing my mind just quickly is how good Cyberpunk looks on Switch 2.
It's so
good. I can't get over how good
that
Cyberpunk
new press footage looks insane.
Anyway, not that now. Time for us to leave. Yes. And for you to let us know what your favourite Switch 1 memories are down in the comments.
Tell us.
Once you're down there, like the video. That does help. Subscribe to the channel so you could join our ever-growing army of Switch fans.
Yes, and become a member. You can chat to us over on our private Discord.
It's good, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
So until the next time.
I can't remember what the phrase is. I forget it every time.
Every time.
Have a nice day.
Yes.
There we go.
How many videos?
A lot.